What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Hof Bergmann. We're going to be closing out summer, hopefully tonight. We've got a lot of things to do. I want to pick the rest of our cherries here at our cherry grove and have them all ready to go. I've got to process a whole heap load of honeycombs to get some honey extracted before the bees don't make any more honey. I've got to, well, we're also working on doing some field work, cultivating the fields that we've harvested recently. Put lime down on those fields. I've got a whole field of field grass that I want to collect. We need to mix up some TMR. We need to feed our animals. And, yeah. All that in the next couple hours. Cheesy poof. Right now, there isn't a concept of firewood, I think, for sale, but you do have to make the firewood in order to basically roast your pig. Now, that's not saying that in the autumn update there might be some sort of firewood process, but there's plenty of other stuff going on to keep you busy over the winter than firewood. Plenty. But you can smoke fish. You could butcher geese and chickens and rabbits. You could extract bull juice from your bulls. You got plenty of wool to clean from your sheep. You've got all types of dairy products you can make, from goat cheese to regular cheese to mozzarella to cream and butter. Bake some bread in the bakery. I would have a, oops, wrong one. I would say that's a pretty good possibility, in that the autumn update will fill this in. We can already see some landscaping done over here in kind of preparation for it. This whole area here. Well, it's a standard map. It's no bigger than a normal map. But there's a lot to go on. There's a lot going on other than just simple agriculture. It's a standard map. The easiest way to know this is if you pull up the map, you see the coordinates in the bottom. If you go to the extreme southeast corner, all right, a standard map is going to be 2048 by 2048 max, 2 kilometers square. The extreme northwest corner is going to be 00. The extreme southeast corner is going to be 2048 by 2048. We're at 1959 by 1968, so standard map. A 4X map would be 4096 by 4096. Basically double a standard map. A 16X map would be double a 4X map. So 4098 times 2, so it'd be like 8180 something. 8 kilometers square. Which is where I go into my mini rant about a 4X map does not stand for 4 kilometers. A standard map is not 2x because x is a factor of something where the basis of that factor is 1. So there is no 1x other than a standard map. So a standard map can't be 2 times the size of a standard map, right? But a 4x map is 2 times the size of a standard map. The x represents the number of maps that fit within the map area. 4. 2 horizontal, 2 vertical. 4. 16x map is double a 4x map. It's 8 kilometers square, but it is 4 maps wide and 4 maps tall. So that's where the math breaks down. And that a 16x map is not 16 kilometers. It's 8. I've never tried to place a regular animal pen on a Hof, but I could see where that would happen. All right, just a few more cherries to pick. Let's get this guy going down here. Well, Save Point Studio, the issue with a 4X map is in its size. And so oftentimes we'll see 4X maps basically with huge fields and not a whole lot of details in the town areas and the farm areas. Very rarely do you get a 4X map that's got a huge amount of detail and what I would call reasonably sized fields. My perfect 4X map, if there would be such one, would basically be similar to what Cavalier Roy released in Farm Sim 22 when he combined all 4 of his standard maps into one and made them all work together with respect to the road networks and everything, because all the fields were reasonably sized such that it didn't take hours on end in order to farm. And you had all the details of a highly detailed standard map with respect to farm areas, towns, AI houses, decorative elements were not few and far between. And it can easily take 4 times longer to adequately detail a 4X map than a standard map, because you have 4 times the surface area to work with. Yeah, I want to get these 4 more cherry trees done. Boss man, I'd say if you look at my map video for Geistal, if it has 4X on the thumbnail, then it's 4X. If it doesn't have 4X on the thumbnail, then it's most likely standard. There's a few 4X maps where I have forgotten to put that flag on the thumbnail. Description. Check the description. Always. You might find a link there. You might be surprised. In this case, there's no direct link, but one could tease it out. I also published a video yesterday with updated information on downloading the map. But yeah, I just updated it. It's there now. If you use Chrome, just right-click on the page and say Translate to English. I like to know how that guy gets his bucket on the branch. I don't think he's unhooking the handle. All right, last one. It is probably, yeah, pretty much. Greatly increases your chance of mod conflict on this particular map. That's where that new mod that came out the other week. I don't remember what it's called. Mod dashboard, mod something. Just for funsies, I added it to this game save and my mod folder for this game save. And it came back no conflict, so that was great. So you can definitely play this map with no conflict. No conflicts. 900 mods greatly increases your chance of conflicts. Because so much on this map is specialized. Yager, thank you for the sub. We're just going to move these into here. Cold storage for now. Go. Oh, well then you're less apt to run into issues. So often people will comment about how on this map they can't do this, they can't do that. Eggs don't spawn, or this doesn't work, or that doesn't work. And it usually comes back to some sort of pallet mod. Liftable pallets, or some pallet mod that changes capacities or something that has direct conflict. What's up, Mr. Dio? Definitely a long time no see. And speaking of seeing, I do want to take a quick opportunity to pitch the Sim Gaming Expo. I will be attending September 18, 19, and 20th, just outside of Chicago, Illinois. It's a great opportunity if you are into simulation-based games to attend. Since it's Chicago, it's kind of central to the country at Schmomberg Renaissance Convention Center. We got flight sim stuff, driving sims, race sims, truck sims, train sim, golf sim. There'd be other possible sports sim there. There's going to be, from what I understand, RC controlled NASCAR cars. So everything from computer-based simming to RC cars to well, whatever. Definitely go check it out. simgamingexpo.com if you can attend. I'm going to be there Saturday afternoon, 2 p.m. I'm going to host a barnyard meetup at the convention for anyone and any farm sim fans that are going to be there. I think there's going to be a multiplayer area, so we're going to try to set up a multiplayer farming thing as well. But definitely go check it out. Tons of special guests, including yours truly. Tons of vendors with some big names that you may have heard of. representing the show. It's definitely an opportunity to get some hands-on with some really cool equipment, try it out, and you never know who you might run into. For example, Tony Kanaan was there last year from McLaren and IndyCar of a while back. We got Simpit. I was a big fan of his channel when I was back into sim racing when I was at my start, back around the mid-20-teens. Register 1 day, 2 day, or 3 day passes. I don't know what. Oh, I guess it was the Great Lake. I don't know what beach you went to. Chicago. Must have been the Great Lake. I don't know which lake it is. Lake Erie? Is that the one by Chicago? Alright, we ran up to get our cherries because I needed to get this trailer. I need to reconfigure it so I can load up mixed rations. Customize. Yep. Thanks. Oh, like Michigan, okay. Well, when you land, you come in over Lake Michigan. Something else I'd like to see in the next farm sim that this map has is hose connections. Where are we going to hook up a hose? For example, between here and here. So when we fill things, we have a hose connection. We've got cats on the map. Like some cats come in. We're gonna have disease with the beans and alpacas. With respect to needing to use fungicide to clean out disease off our plants. Not sure if it's going to extend outside of coffee. But I like to see rodents and have to deal with rodents. I think that would be nice. What's up, Chad? This video is brought to you by Farmer Ben and David. Thank you for being farm barons. So like I said, I like to see rodents added to the game, and then cats as a balance to the rodents. And if you don't have cats, or if you have too much grain in your silo and not enough cats to balance out the grain, you'll have a rodent problem, and you'll periodically lose product from being, damaged from the rodents. Buzzman, I know. Maybe in the autumn update, they'll figure out how to catch the rats in the bakery. Maybe we can put some rats in some hives. Although, from what I've heard, the thought process around the wild animal feeders isn't that we're feeding the boar, because why would boar eat hay? It's that we're freeing up the wildlife folks from feeding deer and other, let's say, desirable animals. And then once they're freed from dealing with the desirable animals, they're able to deal with the undesirable animals through unmentionable measures. Boomsticks. If you've ever watched the Evil Dead series, you'll know what a boomstick is. Let's check our animals here. That's basically full. The bulls need to be topped off. Then we'll be probably good for chemo. go unload these or across the road. The map also has a script if your animals go unfed overnight. Some random number of them will die. So you definitely don't want these guys running out of food. What's up, Steve the farmer? Oh. I'd say bring on winter. Summer is here. And it's getting a little old. Well, let's hope GTA 6 doesn't have any further delays. Let's get some hay bales. Storage. Let's get 4 of those out. I like this storage building because you can actually buy bales. I have no interest in GTA. Oh, you can talk about it all you want. I know there's others in chat that are interested in it. Hay, straws, maxed out, nice silage. Oh, there's my bale spikes. And there's the bucket. I don't know. I mean, maybe if I ever played it. I've got GTA 5, never launched it. It was free with something. Oh, what happened here? I just don't have a ton of time. Mouse, it sounds like me and Oregon Trail. I can never get across the river. Chad, not that you're going to, but you could sell that PS5 now and probably double your money. What's up, Breezy? Hof is not a 4X map. It is standard. Tons of silage we can put in. We're going to put one more load and then come back to it later. Well, we've been around for 9 years now. Just last week published our 1250th map video. Okay. That's where we're going to leave that for now. He's going to be working for a while. Let's drive in circles as we try to figure out where we have things stored. And when I say stored, I just mean left out where we last used it. I wish I could have finished RDR2. I was taking my time, I was doing lots of side stuff, and then just, I don't know, one day I just never went back to it. I tried to pick it back up like a year and a half ago. But yeah, just again, I think I just don't have the time. And for me, if I spend too long away from something, I'll forget all the controls. I'll forget all the buttons and all that. And then by the time I get back to figuring it out, everything. Let's cut some field grass. We're down in this holler. There's always fog down here. 950 reviews. 1,250. 1,250. I passed 950 a long time ago. Tonefish, I would say go get that new mod conflict mod checker. It's called mod something. Over on the mod hub. Fire it up, and it'll tell you what's conflicting. But the short of it is, yes, you definitely have a mod conflict. What is it? I don't know. But Mod Mixer will tell you. Everything you see here is included with the base game. That, and while we're at it, let's cut another run off the end here. It'll make turning a lot easier. We also have the optional hay drying mod enabled. So if we come here into our settings, where it is, we can set to hay drying of 12 hours. And we need it to add one time. So you see we can make this as short as 1 hour all the way up to 12. And one tedding pass or two. So you see here it says hay status in the lower right. Ted the grass, it says to do. Progress 0%. Heading 0 of 1. Time not started. Temperature 31 C. So after we mow, we need to come back, head the grass, come back tomorrow, and it should be dry into hay. And then we'll be able to bale it. We covered the hay drying mod when the 1.45 feature update came out for Hof Bergmann. Farmer Andy has subsequently released it as a standalone mod over at lsfarmingmods.com. Well, Rishi, because some people prefer to play with a little bit more realism. Base game, yes. Ted, and it's instantly hay. If that's what you like, that's fine. Now, personally, where I grew up, you don't have to Ted your ass, you just have to let it bake in the sun. But the hay dry mod doesn't have that option, so I've just got it set to one heading stage. I would much prefer to be able to set it to 0 and just say after 12 hours my grass is hay. But we have what we have. Some parts of the world you've got to Ted multiple times because it's just damp and grass doesn't dry on its own. At least not within a reasonable time. And that's the beauty of a farm sim, is that you can play your way, right? You don't have to play any other way than the way you prefer. And it's possible that as you play more and become more familiar with the game mechanics, you may be interested in replicating farming techniques differently. And you'll have the capability via mods or other settings to do that. Right, there's like some folks that play a UK map and they'll try to farm the way farmers do in the UK. Then they might play a Midwestern map and they'll try to farm the Midwestern way. I mean, in the end, just have fun. If you're enjoying yourself, then you're doing it right. There are some folks that all they'd ever do in Farm Sim is cut grass and make silage. If that keeps them happy, that's fine. I would say that farmers would trim trees back on the edge of fields as those trees grow and encroach or reach out over the edge of fields and things, but we typically don't clear a no man's zone, if you will, around the fields where there's no trees for some amount of distance. At least not where I grew up. Where I grew up, though, yeah, if you had trees that were coming close to the edge of the field, you may come in with a bucket and stand on the bucket with a chainsaw and cut branches back that were reaching out a little bit too close that you figure you might catch with your harvester or some other piece of machinery. Yep, TMR is very much a real thing, and to some degree, it's a lot more complex of a recipe than the game sets out. Some farmers add ground up grain to their rations. Some farmers feed different rations different times of the year. I would say most things in Farm Sim have a realm of reality to them. Oftentimes overly simplified just for the sake of it being a game. So I'll call it the gamification of something. In the end, the game has to be fun. There we go. Alright, come on over here to get our header. I'm just using the standard, hooking up the things. But there's also a mod that lets you manually attach. Or means you back up the stuff and then you got to get out and you got to basically connect things more manually. Connect the hoses, connect the PTO. If there's a PTO, connect the hitch. Yeah, I used to watch a farm tuber that was out of South Carolina, and they raised basically beef cattle. And they would feed their cattle hay during the winter months. They would also feed silage. It might be corn silage. It might be sorghum silage. And they would also take a grain mill, and they would grind up corn, barley, or some sort of grain. And feed that. Alright, so now we've headed a little bit. If we look in the front, right, we have head the grass, 0%, 0 of 1 tedding, time not started. If we come to the back, we're at drying the hay status, progress 0%, tedding 1 of 1, time 0 of 12 hours, 31 degrees Celsius. So we use guided steering since we really don't see much, if any, color change. That way we know we hit all the field. I'm always excited to see a new state get released. I haven't actually been in ATS for a long time. I want to do a Route 66 run. But now I think I'm just waiting for the Atlas feature to come out and do some road trips. Maybe road trip 66. Yeah, modern farmers very much have GPS in their tractors. It's all about effectively and efficiently working the field. I do not use Courseplay. I used it a lot in Farm Sim 17. I used it a fair bit in Farm Sim 19. But in Farm Sim 19, I quit using it because at one point I got tired of spending more time fixing it than it ended up really saving me time. And at that point, I just said, screw it. I'm never going to use Courseplay again because it was more effort to use it than to me just do all the tasks myself. I think one time in 22, I went back to it very briefly and said, nope, I'm fine, not messing with it. I mean, back in Farm Sim 17, it worked really well. Farm Sim 19, I made tutorials on doing lots of things in course play. From simple things like using it to mow, and then using that same course to rake, and using that same course to bale. Setting up a course to harvest corn with a forage harvester, setting up a course on multiple carters to basically cart from the field to the silage bunker, setting up a course in the silage bunker to compact, and when it all worked, it was great. You could have a carter basically run alongside the forage harvester. When it was full, it would drive to the silage bunker, and then the next carter would basically be staged behind the first, and it would pick it up and start unloading the forage harvester. Meanwhile, the full cart runs to the BGA. The leveling course would recognize that someone is pulling up and wants to unload. It would basically move to a parking position. The carter would basically pull in front of the silage bunker and back in and unload, pull off, and go to repeat its task. And then the leveling course would detect that the carter had left the zone and would then basically commence to go back to the leveling action. And all that worked great. Until it didn't work. And then it seemed like the carter and the forage harvester would run into each other on every turn. It's like, come on, people. The script is controlling both. The script should know not to run into each other. So you'd have to fix it on every single pass. And at that point, I'm like, just forget it. Miguel, well, welcome. And if I am understanding YouTube correctly, as of late, they have established an auto dubbing feature. Not so much for live streams, but for recorded videos, where you can go in and hear the video auto dubbed into your language. So for Brazil, it would be some sort of, I guess, computer generated Portuguese. And from what I understand, it's pretty accurate. Well, Fred, you should be good, hopefully by tomorrow morning. Now I'm using this little case 90C. It's part of the LSFM Mini Ag Pack. What's up, David? Of course, it's kind of convenient mowing in a completely different path. So we can kind of see our mowing path going diagonal. We kind of know where we've headed because it's much more even and flat. Of the information that's come out of FarmCon about beans and alpacas, what are you all most surprised at? And what are you all most excited about? I think I'm most surprised at the building repainting stuff. So we're going to have paint production. We're going to be able to produce paint from various dyes that we can make from various crops that we grow, or things that we can collect from the map, and that we can basically repaint structures on the map, refreshen them, and that our farmhouses will age and weather, and we could either choose to leave them weathered, or we could repaint them periodically and keep them looking good. So I'd say that would be the feature I was most surprised at. I would say probably no shocker that what I'm most excited about would be the opportunity to check out and get on the new map, the new environment. Yeah, the 90C, where are we at here? $82,000 for 90 horsepower. Or we can go up to 120 horsepower for 11 grand more. All right, we can add various wheel options. We can add a front attacher. Then we have that attacher here. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the shearing thing. I do hope that they hear a lot of feedback about that and reconsider it. I would be fine shearing like we, use a power washer. Just not a fan of being forced to go into a little mini game on a task that really isn't optional. Like the fishing mini game was cute and all, but it was optional. Like I don't have to fish if I don't want to. So I could never have to experience the fishing mini game if I didn't want to. But if I'm going to keep alpaca, I kind of have to shear them. Or from watching the FarmCon videos, apparently we have the ability to also hire a helper to come once a year and shear them for us. Similar to that mod that came out back in 19 when horses were new and you needed to ride a horse every day to get maximum value. You could hire someone to come ride your horses for you daily, which would prevent you from having to do that daily task. I'm sure that mod still exists today. You know, the riding concept still exists today. But for me, horses lost their value a long time ago. Now there really isn't much economical benefit to having them. Whereas in 19, if you kept them for 10 days, they were worth 50 grand. And you only spent 5,000 to buy it. So they increased 10 times their value in 10 game days. It's definitely worth a little effort. But they definitely don't do that sort of value increase now. Well, I can tell you, as a community cultivator, I did provide feedback from my personal views and from what I'd seen in comments and Discord and other things about the alpaca mini game. One commenter basically said it's childish and should go. I don't agree. Now, it is preview, work in progress. It could change visually. Hopefully will change visually between now and release. But it may also be something like sorghum when that first came out. There was a gameplay video that showed them harvesting it, and they had feedback that that wasn't really realistic. You didn't have your header low to the ground, you had your header raised. And they went and modified it before game release. So by having the AI hire someone to shear them for you, you don't have to deal with the mini game if you don't want to, which is good. I thought I had more dirty wool. We're gonna go check on our honeybees. Watch out, DHL truck. We are very much gearing up for the start of the academic year. The first group of students come back tomorrow. Get these in here. We don't want to break our honey. Get out of the way. Oh, you're right. That would be... that'd be a life-changing event. But it's like, it's like back in the day when we had, when we had a kid in preschool or daycare. I told people it was like having, we had 3 mortgage payments. We had our real mortgage payment. Then we had the mortgage payment that was daycare, which was literally almost the same amount as my mortgage. And then at the time, we also had 2 car payments, which if you added those up, they were about the same as a mortgage payment, which was the same as the daycare. Alright, there we go. So that'll take a little while to spin. Who wants our honey? Take it over to the farm shop. right, Miguel, that's fine. See you later. And you can always watch the replay with auto dubbing, hopefully. Where does our honey go? Oh, it goes over there. And of course, the farm shop gives us money over time. Oh, I guess you don't want any more. Okay. Put that in there. Yep, let's get up at 8 in the morning. Then we should have hay. Let's go take care of this dirty wool. This should be full too, right? No more can spawn. Let's take care of this before our milk pops up. Now we could take our sheep milk and make goat cheese. But we've done that enough. Can I take goat milk here? You will take it. Cool. Where did you put it? Oh, right there. Somebody buys a lot of goat milk. Oh, every game version, the map is rebuilt. New features added. Some old features may not come back. So it's like just because it was in doesn't mean it's going to come back. But I think as we've seen, not sure who was asking about stuff to do over winter. But the map, she's got plenty to do. Plenty to keep one busy. We'll bring you back. Fred, they reintroduced bull juice. It's a bit different, but somewhat the same. Let's go get a rig. Well, we'll just have to see what comes and what doesn't. Maybe we'll have the veterinarian show back up. The asparagus tarps do impact production. In fact, if you don't uncover them, they don't produce. Wrong turn. Let me get this up there, and then I'll go up there. I mean, I just uncover them. And there we go. We got hay. Hay ready, 100%. 1 of 1, time 12 hours of 12 hours. So your asparagus, right, they require water, and then they'll output either green or white asparagus. We're up here at the vegetable area, the greenhouse area. Well, Allie, I don't see us getting that because of Giant's concern about age. So if they're covered, I hope I just didn't lose a bunch of asparagus. They never spawn because the pallets are basically where the asparagus spawn. So I did. I think I lost all that asparagus. Ecads. So I just leave them uncovered. But I ran into that issue where I couldn't figure out why they never did anything. Because I thought we would have asparagus come between the mounds, and the tarps were somehow to keep moisture in the ground. But a commenter said that if you come up here, you get a remove tarps trigger. And when you remove the tarps, right, the pallets go there, which then allows the asparagus to spawn where it needs to spawn. And then, of course, you bring them down here if you want to package them. And then you can sell that. And you can store here in cold storage. Yeah, asparagus is really good money. I think winemaking is good money too. It's just it's a year-long process. Bondsman, I'd run that mod checker. What's it called? Mod something. Maybe there's some sort of conflict. The way the stock checker mod is configured and things. Miguel, no problem. He wasn't out of line in any way. I told him to come back after the replay, and hopefully the auto dubbing would be turned on. A 3-row harvester for grapes and olives? The thing must be huge. working out fine. Well, interesting. Exactly, Fred. It's not about the easy money. If you're looking for easy money, then it's probably not the map for you. Well, I would say realistic livestock is I don't know enough about realistic livestock mod. I would say it's less apt that they're baked into the map and more that something that realistic livestock has came from this map. Now maybe you all know or have an idea. On the Bally Spring video, there was a comment related to no male animals. Like that was somehow a negative toward the map. Was the map hyped as to having male animals? I didn't really understand the comment because I'm like, well, male animals aren't a thing. I mean, there are here on this map, but that's very different. Yeah, boss man, what I do is I run different mod folders for different save games as opposed to a unified mod folder. There have been times in past farm sims where a script mod behaves inappropriately and affects your game regardless if you haven't activated it or not. So just because a mod might not be activated doesn't necessarily mean it's not somehow loaded in memory at some point. My mod manager is me putting mods in mod folders and me renaming folders before I launch a game. Now that's how I've been doing it since Farm Sim 17. Now I do know that there are some mod manager applications out there. I've never used them. I run so few mods these days anyway. But I can't tell you when the last time I've had a conflict. Now, do you have the asparagus mod activated and Hof Bergmann? Because you don't need both. The asparagus is built into the map. Or are you running asparagus on a different map? So yeah, you don't need to have the asparagus mod active. Oh, a negative price? Yeah, that's a thing. Yeah, I wouldn't say yeah, that's just a thing. Where is it? Negative prices are a thing. See? Negative 855. Negative 681. Negative 514. Well, yeah, I guess you can't place asparagus without it. But if all you're seeing is negative prices, that's a thing. I've seen that here. All right, folks. That's where we're going to call it for the night. I want to thank you all for coming out, watching, hanging out with me for the last few hours. Tell you what, it's been a while since we regularly streamed, and hopefully we're getting back into that a little bit. Keep an eye on the channel for map drops. If Giants drops a map, then you know that we're going to be working on a map video that evening. We might be streaming Wednesday, we might not. Again, keep an eye on the channel for either a map in the Mod Hub or something to be posted in the early evening related to a possible live stream. And until next time, happy farming.